How often should we train with an animal?
You know, there's not really a formula for that. You know, I can tell you that when it comes to hunting season, I know by about the 25th of August, I need to have my animal in pretty fair condition. You know, and what I mean by that is out here, I've got hundreds of miles of trails, and I'll take my animals and I'll hook up 6 mules on my wagon, put 6 mules on the front, 6 mules on the back, taking pack weight. I can train on 12 animals at a time, which a lot of people can't do. And I'll take those animals back in May, and I'll start driving them. Of course, most of my animals are working anyway, you know, and I'll drive them and I work them, and it makes a difference. I have still had animals that I started training 5 months before, ahead of time, and then somewhere during the pack trip, something went wrong health-wise, down the tube they went. You know, it's good for you to keep around Banamine. It's good for you to keep around Butte, because here's the thing: when they start getting hurt and hurting, you've got to have pain relief. And if you got that Banamine, you got that Butte, you can give them that Banamine and Butte. They'll get to where they're feeling better, and you'll be able to get them out of there. You know, but in your pack equipment, you should have ibuprofen for you, and you should have Butte for that donkey.
I've got an equine kit, and then I've got a human kit.
Good
and I
for
do
you.
the same thing, and like I said, Butte's a good one. You can talk to your vet to give you some Butte. It's good painkiller. It's good anti-inflammatory for their muscles, but it can be really important to keep the animal from stressing when they're injured in the backcountry, for sure.
Give you another little tip to put in with your gear. Okay, when we bow a tendon, you can have a low bow, a middle bow, and a high bow. Okay, usually it's your low bow that's the biggest problem. Okay, it's a big tendon area that spreads out. I'll take some Bigelow's ointment, you know, some type of something that will create heat. Okay, and I keep rubber gloves in there too, because this stuff can take the hide off of you. But I'll take some Bigelow's and I'll rub it into that tendon, and then I'll take some cellophane and I'll wrap that thing up good and tight, and I mean tight. And then I'll take some vet wrap and I'll wrap it up good and tight. And now I've got a way to be able to start doctoring on that mule right away. You can't wait till you get back to camp sometimes. You know, you can't wait to get back to your ranch sometimes. You know, it doesn't, for less than $25, you can put yourself a nice vet kit. It'd be a good thing to put on our websites. Just a little thing like that.
What do you need in a med kit?
Don't you make a med kit little bag?
I do. I've had people ask me, you know, do you sell one that's already pre-stocked? And I've been thinking about that. You know, what
that's an idea, pre-stock, sure.
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
Well, just something simple like that. Banamine, Butte. I like to use Banamine. I like to go inner jugular pop, and they're ready to go within minutes. Okay. You know, when I'm packing freight back in these mountains, a lot of times I don't have time. I'm on a tight schedule, and sometimes if I get an animal blow up or something go wrong, you know, but still, I want my animal as quickly as possible. I want them to be comfortable. And that Banamine, you know, you can go to different classes. You can get that information, but that would be a good thing to put together a good med kit. You know, and like I tell you, I start what I consider in my mind here in Arizona at 110, 120 degrees. In May, I'm starting to train for my September hunting. And in all essence, Eric, these mules are still putting in an average of 3 to 5 hours a day on top of what I'm considering training. When I hook 6 mules on the front of my wagon and I put 6 mules on the back of pack equipment, in 4 hours I can do a lot of training. Plus I can do a lot of preparing. But still, I've had the best prepared animals blow a tendon. And that's the biggest thing you got to think about, is what happens. Feel those tendons all the time. Just like you and I getting ready to go, we're getting ready to go on a trip. We test the air in our tires, we make sure our oil is right, everything's ready. We go on a trip. When we take these donkeys out, we take these mules, we feel those tendons. Okay? That's something at every one of my clinics I show people. This is what a tendon feels like. Feel this, you know, and get that done. And donkeys have got the worst foot on an equine that there is. they're really easy to shrink in the back of the hoof, and that when they start getting contracted, that frog then, which is normally nice, big, and fluffy, is hard. You're not getting the blood pumping up and down that leg. That's another good reason to blow a tendon. You know, forget about a 20% rule. Forget about starting to preparing them 5 months ahead of time, 10 months ahead of time. You got to do it according to that animal. Just because they're a donkey, everybody puts them in the same donkey pail. All donkeys do it this way. That's not it.
No.
This is the mule pail. All mules do it this way. It ain't it. You know, just like you could probably outrun me from the top of the hill. You know, you do that because sometimes you're in better condition, but sometimes your stamina is there too. You're able to do it. You know, so don't go putting a 20% rule. Know your animal. Period.
That's the biggest thing I tell folks, and I get that question all the time, and you got to be careful about stuff you see on Facebook, because there's a lot of misinformation out there when it comes to that. So just know your animal. When you see those Facebook experts out there, just, you know, take that with a grain of salt. Take it from folks who know, who've had. And I think having multiple animals is when you start learning that difference. I mean, if you've got 1 or 2 animals, you may not see the differences between a lot of them, but when you have multiple animals, you start going, now these folks are different. But listen, folks, I appreciate you watching today, and thank you for having me, Steve. And listen, folks, if you have any more questions, give Steve a holler. He always wants to talk about mules and donkeys. Mule Ranch.
www.muleranch.com.
All right, thanks, folks.